I want to start first by backing up before we talk about what's happening currently. And several months back, a federal judge, in a last-minute order, halted the immigration policy that that had been put in place by President Obama through his executive actions. So hundreds of thousands of undocumented immigrants were poised to apply for work permits and for legal protection. So what did your organizations do at that moment? It was a devastating time, several months prior. What work did you do then? And then I want to move to kind of what work you're currently doing. Can you reflect back on that time?
Sure. Actually, our organization was involved, and it happened to be, I was in Washington, D.C. when DAPA did not pass. But we've been really helping the community, and we work with several organizations, and we got contract from California Department of Social Service to advocate and to help the DACA recipient to apply. And we've been doing great work with that, and we've been helping many students to apply for it. And it was an executive order by our president, and hopefully that our new president will continue and see the immigration as a friendly, not as a fight. And it happened to be his wife is an immigrant, so they went through the process, their family went through the process. So hopefully that he will be more friendly with the immigration system here.
So when the Supreme Court struck down the U.S. versus Texas case, it was a big blow to, obviously, the immigrant community, because we were hoping that the expansion would, of course, benefit, not only the children, but their parents. As a public policy organization, the most that we could do was to try to educate and clarify with the community why it happened. Obviously, it was for us, it was a politically motivated decision. However, which way you try to split it. And I think in terms of how it obviously limited the opportunities for those many folks who would benefited from it, especially the parents, it still stands today. The organizations, that some of them are in this room, who are already providing DACA services to those young kids and adults, kept on doing them. Obviously, we're just not able to expand them. But there is a new law in California that my organization actually helped to pass. We drafted the bill for it. It's called One California. And it is a bill that helps expand services to DACA populations, but also really helps provide more stable funding for our naturalization service programs. And that is a bill that stands today. It's now a law, and the state we have successfully managed to lobby the state government to provide steady funding for it every year. The good news about this law is since it's solely state funded, it may not be affected by any federal preemption laws that may come about. Some of these other programs may be affected, like the Trust Act, like the driver's license bill. It remains to be seen what's going to happen to some of these robust California laws that could be, that the new government may go after. But at least for some of these state-funded programs, the big challenge, and I need to really share this with you because there's going to be a fight around funding. There's a perfect storm brewing between the repeal of the Affordable Care Act and the repeal of DACA. And that not only will it have devastating economic impact on these low-income populations that are benefiting from these programs at the moment, it will have a ripple effect on other, whether it's enrollment in other non-immigrant programs, because draconian policies like this always have a chilling effect. So, what we're trying to do is we're putting together what we call some type of a framework so that we can respond to some of these policies that may come our way, whether it's for deportation defense, whether it's protecting the confidentiality information of many people who are in the system who may be affected, and whether it's having a specific targeted outreach for a MEMSA community and Muslim communities. The advocates in the state are all trying to do that. I think the fight will be in many fronts. If the issue that state-funded programs will probably have to deal with is if, for example, federal subsidies are reduced in California, or if they go after different types of insurance and federal subsidies, then our state budget is going to be affected. And you know what happens when there is a budget crunch. Certain programs go in the chopping block. And it stands to reason what will be on the chopping block if it becomes these very, very difficult choices of who you continue to fund and who do you continue to protect. And that goes all the way from social service programs to public safety programs, which, apparently the Trump administration wants to remain stable, the public safety programs, because they're very pro-enforcement. But there are some really real things that will have an insidious, pernicious effect on our lives and the lives of the immigrant communities and our immigrant friends that are in our midst.